And with that out of the way, let's go right ahead and talk about OG Anunoby and the possibility of him returning for Game 7. So, he will remain sidelined. He's been sidelined throughout the majority of the series, suffering a hamstring injury in Game 2. You can't have anything nice if you're on New York. I swear that's just how it is. It's just not fair. Now, New York is ahead of Indiana in this series. The series is now 3-2. So there is a pretty good chance that he might return for the very last game to play for New York at home and hopefully help the team win if the series even goes to a Game 7, because the Knicks could close it out right here and right now. I mean, well, technically not right here, since right here is like New York, New Jersey, and right over there. You get what I'm saying. But regardless, the game is supposed to start at 8:30 tonight on ESPN. And the Pacers, they're a very good team when they play in Indiana. So I have my doubts, and I'm not entirely sure how good the Knicks are going to play in the away game this time around. But they did play good in Game 3, and they were just one step back three from tying the game and taking it into overtime and potentially winning that game. So I'm not going to say that they play bad away simply because of like one blowout loss that they had in Game 4. Like, the game was close in Game 3. I'm not going to ignore that game completely, even though I would love to ignore that game, because that step back three had absolutely no right going in. Zero right going in whatsoever. That was a horrible shot, but the basketball gods just said, "Oh, it's the Knicks. Let them experience some more pain," and just boop, dropped it right down the middle. Really upsetting. But in Ochi's 8 available playoff games that he was playing in, he averaged 16 points on 49% from the field, 39% from 3, 61% from the line, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block, and 1 steal. Those were his averages in all of the games that he's been available for the Knicks in the playoffs. And that is extremely valuable. Like, that he's by far the best defender on the Knicks roster. And you need that defense when you're going up against Indiana, because Indiana moves incredibly quickly, and you need someone that's able to get a stop here and there. And OG is the perfect candidate for that, especially when you have someone like Jalen Brunson on defense every single time. Because I love Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson is a demon. He is a phenomenal player, but his defense and the fact that he's undersized, it makes him a liability on the other end of the court. He might be very good offensively, but he is an extremely huge liability on the defensive side of the court. He gets steals here and there, obviously. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that he doesn't play defense or doesn't try to play defense, but still, it's very difficult to be a defender when you're 6'1" and when you're that 6'2", like the same height as Donovan Mitchell. Like, it's really difficult to get stops like that. So that's sort of why OG Anunoby is like the equalizer between, like, the offense and the defense, because he's a very, very good perimeter defender, and he can be that perimeter defender that Jalen Brunson can't be, while Jalen Brunson can be that offensive player that OG Anunoby can't be. Not only that, but OG also dunks the ball like a grown man. Like, everyone saw that dunk on Joel Embiid, I'm sure, right? That's a grown man's dunk right there. And you sort of need that toughness, especially when you need everything that you can get if you're the Knicks. So the winner of this series is obviously going to face the Boston Celtics, and I'd be extremely terrified of playing the Boston Celtics without having OG on the roster, because the Boston Celtics, they have a very formidable starting five. Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Al Horford now, considering how Kristaps has still been out recently, but Al Horford. So having OG in the lineup, it means that you have the possibility of slowing down Jaylen Brown just a little bit, or Jason Tatum, just a little bit. Again, not entirely sure how they're going to play in the series, but OG being a defender is incredibly valuable, so that way you can slow them down. And honestly, I would put OG on Jaylen Brown just because Jaylen Brown has absolutely no left hand. It's a joke, but like seriously, his left hand is like really bad for someone who's in the NBA. Like I'm extremely surprised with how bad his left hand is, but regardless, he has no left hand, and since he doesn't have a left hand, OG is going to pluck that immediately every single time. Just straight up like NBA 2K24 right stick ripper, pow, give me the ball. Every single time. Like, obviously it's not going to happen every single time, I'm being optimistic, but OG's defense towards Jaylen Brown, I feel like that's going to be something that could be a huge X factor in the series and ultimately make Jaylen Brown a non-important factor in the entirety of the postseason and force the team to rely on one of their stars as opposed to all of their stars. Because the one thing that I noticed about the Boston Celtics is that when they win, they dominate, and when they dominate, it's not just one player doing all the heavy lifting, it's the entire team. So now the Knicks are going to have to force the Celtics in a situation to make somebody play hero ball. Like, that's going to be the best chances of them winning in this series, because they have not had to rely on one person throughout any of these postseason games. Like, whenever one person performs, then the rest of the team seems to perform. So if they're going to be forced to rely on one person, then there's going to be a lot more pressure that one person is going to have to expect in this postseason, because the Celtics, they aren't in the postseason now, they aren't used to needing to play hero ball. So with that in mind, I have a feeling that if you like force one player to do all the heavy lifting, eventually the Celtics are going to lose at least a couple of games. If that's a big if these guys like the Celtics team, and if the Knicks play the defense that they're supposed to play on this Celtics team. Like, I could definitely see that happening. But then again, I can also see Jason Tatum just unlocking his inner Mamba mentality or something like that, and just ending the game and winning the game for the Celtics every single time, and making me want to shrivel up into a ball and cry. I can totally see both outcomes happening. And in reality, like, I'm scared. I'm very afraid of the Boston Celtics and this series. Like, and I'm so scared that it's like we haven't even beaten the Pacers yet, and I'm already thinking about the Boston Celtics, because it's like, Jesus, those guys are ridiculous. They're way too good for they're way too good for the franchise. They're just, and I don't like how they're good. I really don't. But aside from that, we still have to worry about Game 6 against Indiana. Fingers crossed, hopefully the Knicks can pull out with this one. Hopefully they can pull out with this one. Whether it be in Game 7 or whether it be in Game 6, doesn't matter to me. Hopefully they pull out and they succeed. So with that, we are out of time in this second segment. So now I will go ahead and go into the third segment, where I try to make sense of this Cavs drama, because now I am very, very confused what the Cavs are going to be doing and what is going on. Like, extremely confused. And you guys will see after this short break why I'm confused. So I will be right back.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.